What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now today we have a special video for you guys, as this was the very first race on GT7 for Daily Race C, and it was a very big treat that we had here. So if you guys don't know what's been happening on GT7, they decided to put in Daily Race C and Daily Race B, just kind of how they did on GT Sport, but unfortunately people were able to find some exploits and find some glitches to actually bypass the BOP and just make their cars ridiculously quick. And so Polyphony basically left it up to us, the players, to manually do some tuning and get the weight and the power to a certain spot where everybody is kind of even. So they basically made us do our own BOP here. So this was our very first race, and it was a special one because of how many people were in here, and just because it's basically handing a torch from GT Sport to GT7. So anyway, boys and girls, 3, 2, 1, away we go. Heading into turn 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway. We go into turn 1 nice and easy, as this was our very first laps around here. And we were able to survive without any hiccups, which is great. But I wasn't expecting to be like that for long, because this was the first race. Everybody is still just trying to figure out, okay, what is the strategy? How far can I push the car? How bad is the tire wear? Because at this point, we really didn't know much about the race. We just knew that it was going to be Group 3 cars, and that tuning was a bit allowed, and it was going to be 10 laps, 17 times tire wear, and I believe it was 5 times fuel. You guys might be able to correct me on that one. But anyways, again, everyone was just taking it nice and easy, didn't want to push too hard, especially myself, because again, we didn't really know what to expect on this race. Now we do. It's Thursday. Everybody's basically had over 30, 40 laps on this racetrack, and have probably done more than 10 races throughout the week. But this being our first one, this was just very, very interesting, just to see all the different strategies and all the mistakes that we're going to see on this race, as someone decides to send onto the inside here, heading to the chicane. We get smashed into the wall by the Spaniard of Menendez, and as we come out of the chicane, we already have somebody slamming straight into the wall. RIP to that man. Not sure who it was, but off the chicane, you can see that they just got on the power a bit too aggressively, straight into the wall. And that is going to be the first of many mistakes that are going to happen on this race. So following Menendez here on lap number 2, we were able to make sure that we didn't get into any mistakes. But coming off the chicane, Menendez gets a dose of karma as he gets onto the grass, loses the back end, spins out, and we now find ourselves up into P4, so 1 spot up from where we started off at. Not too shabby, not too shabby, but unfortunately, our pace wasn't really there compared to the leader of Zavicic. So Zavicic is a very, very quick driver here in the European lobby, so I wasn't expecting to stay with him, but if I could stay at least within 5 to 10 seconds of him, I honestly would be very, very happy with that, just because, again, it's their first time doing this race. We don't know what's going on with the strategy, how much we're supposed to push the car, and if we could stay within that amount of time, I think that's a win. But as you can see here, I was looking at the fuel throughout the race, well, at least the first 2 laps, and I could see that we only had about 2.8 laps left of fuel left in the car. And on the laps, you can see that there are 10 laps, so that's not gonna equal enough to make it to the end. So something was off here. So of course I started switching the power down to fuel map 6 to try to save some fuel, and Pulsar was getting a very, very good run due to that. He was actually able to stay right behind us for majority of the race, and so I just let him go through. I knew he wasn't really saving fuel, and I didn't want to hold him up too long, so we let him through into turn number 1. But now we got a hungry set of drivers right behind us, as Rory got a really good run on our rear, but looked like he had to back out, and we were able to build a little gap from us and 6. So at this point, we're just wanting to follow Pulsar, see if we can get into the slip, short shift here, see if we could keep it on field map 1, or at least a fast field map, and see if we could continue saving the fuel, as I think towards this point, Zavicic actually wasn't saving any fuel, and he wasn't saving enough, and he actually had to back out, I believe, and kind of relinquish his lead down into 3rd. But As we come out of the infield section leading us down to the oval, again, we just decided to stay right behind Polster, try to stay as close as we can. As long as we stay within the 3/4 of a second, we should be in the slipstream. And if we go anywhere past that, all we're doing is basically expelling more fuel than what we need to and not saving enough so that when we do come into the pits, you know, we were not in there for too long. But we go into lap number 5, and I thought to myself, this was going to be the lap that we're going to come in, because if we stayed out another lap, it probably wouldn't be good for us, as we get a really bad case of oversteer and some wheel spin coming off the corner. But coming into the turn 2 of the oval section of the track, Rory was able to get onto our outside, get a good run on the exit. And we got a good run here, but you can see that we switched it all the way down to 6 lanes. Just try to stay right behind him, save some fuel since we are going to come into the pits this lap. And right here, it kind of worried me here because I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but it was just lagging all over the place. Might have been on my end just because I'm all the way in the States, but as you can see on the internet on the left, is showing that Rory had red bars. So not exactly sure if it was him, me, or just the lobby itself, but either way, it scared the hell out of me because I didn't know where he was going. But going into the pits now, we're gonna send it right in, and we decided to go for a no tire strategy for their first race. So it was a very, very risky strategy, but it actually kind of panned out. It actually did all right. I felt like the tires weren't too bad. I know the rears were a bit touchy, but I thought to myself, if I can just control my throttle input, then we should be all right by coming out here without any new tires. And it looks like some other people decided to do the same thing, as Polster gets a really, really bad case of wheel spin coming into the left-hander, and we bump him on the rear, kind of actually saves him. So you're welcome, Polster. I'll be looking out for my check for saving you. But heading back onto the racetrack, it's starting to get a bit dodgy right behind us, as you can see. They're going side by side with Rory and Randall, and coming off into the oval, this is where we're gonna actually be able to test out to see if our strategy work, and see if we can maintain pace, stay with pole sitter, and hold off this 4th place position for the final 4 or 5 laps here that we got going on in this race. So leading us back into the chicane, we stay right behind Polster, and Polster gets a really, really bad case of snap oversteer heading to the right corner. And this was before, I believe, everybody knew that you could cut that corner. So a lot of people really weren't cutting the corner on this race, which was a breath of fresh air. I mean, everyone was just respecting the rules when coming down to this race, as now everyone's just cutting that chicane. But as we head down the straight, I didn't realize that Randall was trying to go for an overtake on the inside, as we didn't have it on the telemetry right there on the bottom right. And unfortunately, I made a little bit of contact with him, but it wasn't anything crazy. So Randall was able to go onto our inside. We gave him plenty of room, gets the overtake done. And unfortunately, we lost that 4th place position, but we were still able to stay with him, as again make contact with his rear. And I was a bit worried here because on this game, for right now at least with the penalty system, it's a very, very touchy. So if you accidentally make contact with the rear of a car ahead of you, or someone goes off and goes on to the track and you make contact with their rear, even though you basically had nowhere to go, it gives you currently about a 2-second penalty, and it can go all the way up to a 5-second penalty. So it's been all over the place. Maybe that's something that Polyphony can fix in the future. Just make it a bit less dramatic, you know, so where if you do make contact with a car ahead, and it's just slight amount of contact, maybe keeping it at 0 penalty. But if you make you know, a really good punt to the car up ahead, like you see right there the German did to Randall, that should be warrant of a 2, maybe 5-second penalty. But you can see right there that pole sitter just absolutely destroys Randall. Randall goes straight into the barrier. Well, almost went to the barrier. He was able to maintain it, go back onto the track. So he got very, very lucky right there. But you can see that pole sitter got very, very lucky that he didn't get a penalty, because I've seen stuff even less malicious than that that's been happening throughout the week, and people have been getting like 2-second, 5-second penalties. So right now it's very, very inconsistent with the penalties. But we're gonna see right here now if we can try to catch up with Pole Sitter, as these tires haven't been feeling the worst, but I've definitely been feeling some type of lack of grip. But as we come out of the chicane, Randall gets a really great run, was able to get onto the right hand side, get a really great exit, and due to that he was able to gain a position and get back on us. But we use the slipstream here as we attempt to go onto the outside, see if we can make anything happen here. Brake as late as we can on the outside, side by side with Randall heading into turn number 1. Gives us plenty of room, but unfortunately he just had the grip, had the pace, and was able to stay on the inside, get a great exit, and we fall right behind him once again in P5. And so far everything is working out according to plan. So as long as we can maintain it on the track for another lap and a half, I think we should be all right to finish it in 5th place position, unless Rory just finds some pace here and is able to close back that 1.5 second penalty on us. But you can see coming into some of the corners, it's a little bit dodgy right now. The tires are starting to wear out. We did transfer all the brake balance to the front of the car so that we can minimize the braking in the rear and minimize the tire wear that we were getting on the rear. But not only that, on the exits I was trying to stay on a higher gear so we can maintain those rears, as the more I look at them, they were starting to turn more and more red, and that white was disappearing very quickly here. So coming off of turn number 1, we get a new player into this battle, as we have Pastor Maldonado right behind us, a name you don't really want to see in your rearview mirror. But he was able, I believe he came in and actually took tires, and that's why he had so much grip right now, as he was just all over our rear here in the infield section of the track. Coming into the final time through this right corner, Pastor Maldonado goes into the left hand side, tries to go for a good old cutback, but we kept it onto the inside, tried to park it on the apex, and luckily it worked out for us, as he wasn't really able to get the cutback done. But coming off of the corner onto the oval, he gets a good run on the exit. He's able to switch it onto the inside, and it is now a side-by-side battle between the McLaren and the Audi, and basically whoever has better top end speed. As we go into the rear here, try to see if we can push him and as well as save some fuel. But as we come into the chicane, he keeps on to the inside, we go on to the outside, he holds his spot, and coming out of the chicane he was able to just extend his gap from us, as he did get better grip. And as we now find our way down into turn 3 and turn 4 of the oval, we're gonna run out of time to catch up to get that P5. But to be quite honest, the fact that we were able to survive and we actually finished within 10 seconds of Savage, I'm gonna kind of count that as a win, just because it was our very first race ever doing this on this race. And as we cross the start finish line, we come home in P Steve, right behind Pastor, right ahead of Rory. And I had a ton of fun. I had a blast on this race, and I've still been having a blast on this race. This has been one of the best weeks in a very, very long time. I don't know if it's just because of the high that we have due to the fact that it's a brand new game or what, but I just think this week has been brilliant, and I've been having so much fun and cannot wait to get into the weekend and just play even more of this game. But let me know how you guys are doing this week for these daily races. Leave it in the comments down below. If you guys enjoy what you guys like, feel free to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you guys want to catch more content, hit that red subscribe button down below, turn it into a great button. And if you guys really enjoyed this video and this type of content, I hope to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.